So, oh my god. I've got a little bit of a cold. So, the rational fear of directions. I don't know where the wiener this thing's taking me. Combine that with the irrational fear of corporate overlords, like, what, are they gonna sell my valuable personal data to the cops after I've nonchalantly admitted manslaughter through an internet video thinly veiled as a joke? Yeah, go ahead, combine those two phobias, see if I care. Google Maps. You ever stumble across any one of the billions of video topics along the lines of, top 10 pants-shitting Google Maps locations, number 5 teleported me to the underworld, well, first off, pray tell, some bystander told me I was going there this one time I killed a man, and second off, to the billions of fans of obvious clickbait, boy do I have the indie game of a lifetime for you, and brought to you by Paper Cookies no less, everybody's favorite Twice Gomotion mentioned micro-horror game legend, spitting up the absolute embodiment of strange Google Maps anomalies in the form of an itch-hosted exe file on November 13th, 2022, under the unassuming title of MapFriend. MapFriend, sharing a namesake with the domain he eternally resides in, is in essence a reskinned Clippy with a little more meat on his bones, and I propose we strip him back down to primal skeletal form. This is the face of somebody with intents to give me directions. I don't trust him. Enjoy limitless geographical discovery on your personal computer with this free software. Download now. See? There they go now! I'm a sucker for anything old web aesthetic though. The dithering, aliasing, bold colors. It's anything and everything me 6 years prior to my birth would have dreamed of. The game page is particularly ominous, combining old nostalgic crunch with hell or brimstone or something. Every game I play from this guy sends me one step deeper towards my justified fear of parchment and pastries. We got 12 in last time. Let's see if we can't one-up my anxiety and instill into myself a phobia of raw wood and wheat fields. Well, anyway you throw it, the only scenario where this won't end in a car crash of a broadcast is if I can figure out a method to shake the skin off this guy and save the population from, like, arrows and signs and road markers and shit. Like, what, are you gonna make me keep my vehicle on the road and under the speed limit? What am I, a sheep? Well, I am doing exactly what the computer bubble tells me to do, so share my coat and send me off to Wales. Off we go to violently perish. So we load up. Ew, a lack of a title screen. We're spat in like it's nobody's business, met with the click and hum of a computer booting up, the nostalgic cathode ray bliss of Windows XP, and some fairly authentic UI. It's a program? How am I supposed to track through Google Maps without 15 other tabs open? What is this, happy hour? I'm scratching my ADHD having non-existent nuts off over here! Sorry, don't mind me. This is Paper Cookies. There's more at hand to worry about here, like razor blades or measles. I haven't figured it out yet. Functionally though, this is as Google as a map gets, sorta. You don't get much of a blatant tutorial with this thing, just a rotation of various tips at the bottom of the screen, encouraging you to fly anywhere you want to. Haha, silly game, I'm a person. You can drag and drop MapFriend anywhere and everywhere in the confines of predetermined Westwater, Illinois, and switch to what is essentially this game's version of Street View, scouring the terrain for these little red waypointers. These contain historical tidbits of Westwater, marking areas of interest and doing a really good job at explaining themselves in 2 to 3 clauses. Camping amenities are limited, but the day fee is very cheap at just $3 per day. Well, that's one way to solve a housing crisis. Speaking of fees, in order to turn what could have been nothing more than a stripped down Google Maps simulator into an actual playable experience, the game offers you explore orbs to collect in order to keep costs down. Yeah, you and the original PlayStation both, man. The inclusion of a Z-buff is expensive. It's not a retro horror game if the ground isn't perpetually warping under my feet. Occasionally though, you'll run into a rotten egg, like so. Particularly situated waypointers like this will spot some suspiciously corrupt data, a neat little way to introduce some environmental storytelling. This one's way off in the water. I wonder what it says. The water's too far away for an emergency landing. It's right here, stupid! Yeah, there is an eye-raising number of references here to aircrafts, emergency landings, Willow Beach roads, waypoint referencing an airstrip before the description cuts off, you know, fun stuff. Anyway, picking up an inflating MapFriend stupid bulbous fucking head a dozen more times, that is 3 for 3 in the Explore Orbs department, at which point we're prompted to travel to Dadcare DZ against our will. I think this counts as unlawful imprisonment. I actually looked up what the bitching shitnuts DZ stands for, apparently either an acronym for Dead Zone, Danger Zone, or just an abbreviation for the entire country of Algeria. Choice location either way. And one 90s reeking loading screen later, it's deserts for days. Tip, you can fly anywhere you want to. What, you even mean head first into the sand? It's the remains of a plane crash or its leprosy. Out of a generous 4 waypointers here, the first one I landed upon just so happened to be a shiny, glitching back and forth with the brief, "Why are you looking here? Wasn't it in a forest?" So this is leprosy. The rest of the markers here offer a slew of some very telling hints and clues, ones I wish I could read a little easier, and that MapFriend won't get off my ass for trying to decipher. Recent accident, fatality record. Oh shit, numbers! A second round of the old 1-2 felony later, and... The forest. Oh my days. Jesus, look at that guy. Leprosy is a bitch. Skin diseases aside, that is the entire game. And boy do I have words to describe it. Conceptually, I'm pretty damn surprised nobody's tackled the idea of a creepy Google Maps-esque rump before this, at least not to my knowledge. For as corny as something like this could be, while it doesn't trigger a jet stream of shit from my ass powerful enough to fly me to the sun or anything, it does capture that late 90s internet browsing bonanza like it's nobody's business and leads you in with just enough to make the 10 to 15 minute playtime worthwhile. Cause it is a strong premise, taking the monotony of slumping through a sesh of aimless Google Maps antics at 2 AM on a school night and adding the spice of mystery, the breadcrumbs of intrigue, the lost, murky clues that maybe you weren't supposed to discover. In order to drop a reveal I could spot halfway from the sun. I mean, the moment you say emergency landing, what am I gonna think? Oh, I sure hope that Mercedes landed safe. It's a twist I'd be hard-pressed not to scream that you'll see coming, and one that's, with the retroactively obvious connotations in mind, you bitch, I wish was planted a little more gradually, with seeds of interest sown a little more carefully, ultimately introducing a few seemingly disconnected elements that'd work to unravel over time. And as you'd uncover more and more of the truth behind it all, transforming MapFriend into the spooky internet mystery I wish it had emulated just a tad more effectively. That's not to say MapFriend is ineffective. Again, leprosy. Silly funny Nino banter aside, it's relatively tense on a fresh playthrough, that ending sequence especially giving me a case of the old discomforts. But while the game's deep lore at face value isn't as captivating as it could have potentially been, from what I can gather, this may very well be a story with some heavier focus on survivor's guilt. You couldn't have known, Captain, and it should have been you. These speech bubbles read to me like some kind of an internal battle. The echoes of a reassuring friend or family member 1 minute, and a harmful, intrusive thought the next. Hell, these quotes alone suggest to me that we're possibly even playing as the captain of the plane that crashed, and this is all just some awful nightmare. And with all the taunting messages we're left with scattered across the game, even coming from MapFriend himself, it's possible that this conclusion is what it had all been leading up to. Now hey, this is very much my own interpretation of events. This could all just be creepypasta cornflakes in a bowl of who gives a shit, and I want to make it clear that I am beyond not qualified to determine this as some kind of potential PTSD flashback or episode, but I do enjoy the fact that just those tidbits of text in that flash of a cutscene were enough to trigger the idea that there was likely a deeper layer to this whole gig, personified in the form of a deceiving piece of rotten software. I still absolutely do think that things unfolding a little less snappily would have been the cherry on top, because it really did not take long before it was swiftly clear to me that, yeah, somebody's air miles are fucked, because who doesn't love a mystery? But hey, it's a paper cookies game. It's short, it's sweet, it's freshness guaranteed, it's cheating, really. Seriously, if MapFriend was even of atomic interest to you, check this dude's catalog out on itch. Adam Pipe is the go-to when it comes to binging a library of bite-sized, name-your-own-price indie horror games. I would bloody know. Chainsmoking didn't work out, this was my second option. I've since quit, but hey, just one more game, guys. I'm not an addict, I can stop whenever I want. Give me that MapFriend shit. What the hell was I supposed to do? I'm a sucker for old web aesthetics, and not only that, I lack a direction. Oh, now I hear you asking, first name Gomo, last name Sean, this game's full of direction. And to that I say, oh yeah, the plane made an executive decision to nosedive into the fucking trees. But you know what? I'll bite. If MapFriend really is so full of pointers, I'll be able to walk from one end of the room to the other without fail. Here we sodding son of a bitch, I'm on a plane over New York again. I hate when that happens.